From the studios of the Royal PalmCoast Realtor Association in Fort Myers, Florida, this is the Royal PalmCast, the show about people and things that realtors, homebuyers, and home sellers care about. And now, here's your host, Jim Sandville.
Oh, I love that music. It's bouncy, it's jaunty, it gets me in the mood to talk with interesting people. Yeah, good afternoon, good morning, good evening to you, whatever time it is that you're listening to this. Thank you, Jerry Johnson, and welcome to the Royal PalmCast, the show where we talk about things realtors care about, as well as home buyers, home sellers, stuff to do with homes. And we're here in Fort Myers, Florida, at our studio with the Royal PalmCoast Realtor Association. This, again, is the Royal PalmCast. And today's host is me, Jim Sandville. Same as always, almost always.
Pretty
right?
clever, Jim.
That is clever, isn't it? I stayed up late last night trying to think of clever lines, and that's the best I could come up with, Jerry.
Nice work.
And that's the voice of Jerry Johnson, our producer.
Yes.
How you doing, Jerry?
I'm doing great, Jim. How are you today?
Yeah. Did you have a good weekend?
Yes, I did. And I am loving this Royal PalmCast. This is episode number 3 for us, and looking forward to it. Dave Dettmann is a great guy and apparently just finished off in a well-attended class.
Yeah, Dave is an expert in listings, how to get listings and really make your career move at the pace that you'd like it to move at. Dave, welcome.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Where'd you come from today? Where you been?
Well, we were over at the Cape Coral board. Just finished up a great class over there. Awesome class, awesome attendance. Class is titled, If You Can't List, You Can't Last. It's a 3-credit course by Florida Realtors. And we had over 40 people in the class, which is just amazing. Super turnout. So very, very happy with the turnout. And everybody had a great time.
If you can't list, you can't last. I want to hear all about your tips, your tricks, your workarounds, your secrets to success in the world of obtaining new listings. But first, I want to learn a little bit about you, Dave. Dave Dettmann, the man. Are you from Florida originally?
No. I was born in Milwaukee and spent most of my life in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, home of squeaky cheese.
Yeah, that's right. That's it.
Do you have any?
Yeah.
I love squeaky cheese.
I actually just got back from a trip up there. I actually have some in the fridge. I'll bring you some.
Well, I was, that's awesome.
That's right. Yeah, cheese curds.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
So, born in Milwaukee, you lived there for most of your life?
Yeah, grew up in a town called Wausau, Wisconsin, which is the center of the state, and been a realtor up there. That's where I started in 1988 up there. The family business was completely different, though. I actually was a clock repairman. My title was a horologist. So the family business was a clock shop. We had that open for almost 30 years.
Really? So
I did a combination of real estate and clock repair, running the business, and then finally got tired of the cold and said, no more snow for me.
When's the last time you saw snow?
Oh, boy. It's on TV. If you go to TV, I don't want to see real snow ever again.
Yeah, it's close enough for me. I'm from Maine originally.
It was probably about 14 years ago last time I saw real snow.
Nice. Good for you.
Yeah, you know, I picked this place.
Tell me.
People hear, well, what's Cape Coral? They tell me I'm from Cape Coral, which is where I live. And how'd you pick that? I said, well, I put my snow shovel and I tied it to the front of my bumper of my truck. And so I'm going to drive south until somebody points at that and says, what's that?
That is pretty good. I don't think you'll see a lot of those here. No. So tell me more about your career. What made you move to Florida? What was it that got you here?
Well, realistically, my parents live here. And they had left about 10 years before I did. They also got tired of the cold and the snow. It's not so much the snow, it's the cold. It's bitterly cold up there. In January, you hit 30 to 40 minus, below zero wind chills, and it's just crazy cold. So no fun. And then, winter never ends. Down here, you're the sunshine state, so it's beautiful all the time. But we have 2 seasons in Wisconsin. It's winter's coming and winter's here.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that's rough. I know all about it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm from Maine originally, so I was a little bit nervous when I moved to Florida 5 years ago because I hadn't been here ever during the summer months, and I thought it might be too hot. And I didn't know what to expect, but friends of mine down here told me, look, Jim, you don't have to shovel snow out of the driveway or scrape it off your windshield. Shovel hot, I should say. And indeed, I haven't had to. So it worked out all right. And I acclimated quickly. I'm guessing you did too?
Yeah, I'll take too hot over too cold any day.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
So then what happened? You started selling your real estate in Cape Coral?
After Wisconsin, came down here a little over 13 years ago. And left a very, very lucrative real estate business up there to come down here to basically start over. but I had the knowledge. I knew what to do. Listings are what I was good at, and knew the market. But it's really funny because a lot of people. How long have you been here?
5 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm sure you heard about what happened back in 2007, 2008 about the big crash. Remember that?
Yeah, we had that in Maine, too.
Yeah, did you? Yeah. It kind of went all over the country. The epicenter was considered here. And funny part was I started my career in the end of 2006 down here. So came down to, hey, this is going to be great. I'm coming down in 2006. And then a couple of months after I got my license, the market crashes. So
Wow.
had to learn how to really pull out all the stops, and everything I've learned over the years I had to put to use, and that's what we're going to talk about here.
That was kind of a stress test for you then, huh?
Oh,
if
big
you
time.
can make it in that under those circumstances.
Yeah.
What was the big key to surviving during that rough time?
Well, the most important thing with anything in real estate is you don't quit.
Don't quit.
Don't quit. That's right. And there's always something coming around the corner if you are.
Yeah.
So, too many people, they get in the business thinking it's easy, and as soon as they realize, hey, there's some work to this thing. We're the area of Thomas Edison, and Thomas Edison, one of his famous quotes says, people miss opportunity because oftentimes opportunity is dressed in overalls and looks like work.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Those are words to remember. So you've been selling, and you're a broker or an agent?
I'm a broker down here, and but I'm not the managing broker of the office I have.
Okay.
But I worked for several companies, and then opened up a Remax office in downtown Fort Myers. Ran that with a partner for about a little over 4 years. Sold that, and then opened up the current office we have now in Cape Coral. So I've run everything from an agent to a broker to running an office. We're having agents under me, doing tons of training, professional speaking, things like that. So I'm all over the place.
Okay. What's the name of the agency you're with?
We're with a company called Real Edge Real Estate Brokerage in downtown Cape Coral.
On Cape Coral Parkway?
Actually, one block off Southeast 47th Terrace.
Okay.
Yeah.
Downtown.
Yeah, right. Where they, if you remember when they ripped up downtown Cape Coral for like 2 years to beautify the whole downtown area.
I don't remember that. I arrived to it already being beautiful.
Yeah. Well, for 2 years the roads were all ripped up, and they finally finished the work last year, and they created a roundabout that a lot of people either like or hate, and we're right in that corner of that roundabout.
I know exactly where it is. I was on that roundabout last night, and I love it, for the record. I love it. Yeah. Jerry, you're from Cape Coral. Do you remember all this construction? And
Yes, I do.
What was that like?
Our Cape Coral office is very nearby that.
Yeah.
It was quite messy.
I'll bet it was.
Yeah, a lot of roadblocks and barricades.
Well worth the
Glad
effort.
It's gone. Yeah, it looks nice now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it looks good.
That's awesome. So, Dave, tell me about your course. The name of it again is?
Well, the one we did today, and I teach several courses, but the one we did today is If You Can't List, You Can't Last, which in my opinion is the core of anything that you need as a real estate agent. Everything starts and ends with listings, and it's not taught enough, in my opinion. I'm very passionate about teaching. I'm very passionate about what agents need to do to make it in this business, because I've been doing it for 30 years. And did you know that the average real estate agent that gets their license, according to NAR, the current statistics are that 80% quit back out of the business within 5 months.
5 months? That's very surprising to me.
It is. It's very surprising. It's very bad. And part of that, I know, comes from training or lack of training. So, we're doing everything we can to get the word out about training. And listings are really the core, it's the heartbeat, so to speak, of the real estate business. Because listings drive the business. If you have listings, you're going to get phone calls. People say, well, how do I find buyers? Well, the easiest way to find buyers is to get a good listing, and the buyers call you. Instead of just going out there looking for buyers. So,
well, I'll ask the obvious question. How do you get a listing?
Oh, all kinds of ways.
Tell me.
Oh, absolutely. There's everything from low-hanging fruit to high-hanging fruit, but it all starts with prospecting. You have to prospect, and prospect is considered a dirty word by a lot of people. So let's just change that from prospecting to talking to people. You have to go out and, like with any business, if somebody doesn't know what you do, they don't know you have a service, they don't know to use you. So you have to spend each and every day considering, hey, I woke up unemployed. Take the attitude, I woke up unemployed this morning. I got to go out and tell people what I do, and hand out business cards, talk to people. Hey, have you ever thought about buying or selling a house either now or in the near future? And let them know, hey, I'm a real estate broker. I'm a real estate agent. I'm looking to grow my business. Who do you know that might be thinking about buying or selling? And that starts with people that you know, which is what we call your sphere of influence. So number one is your sphere of influence. That's made up of 3 parts. There's people that your family, obviously. We hope that your family would do business with you, but that you have to tell them what you do. Then your friends, which is the second circle, a little bit bigger circle, and they obviously know you and like you, so they want to do business with you. And then there's the acquaintance and past client circle, which are people that you know, but you might not invite to dinner. So, for instance, your hairdresser, a person that does your hair, they know who you are and they like you. Obviously, you do business with them. So you should not be afraid to ask them for business back. And anybody that you know in that kind of a realm, and anybody that's a past client too. People in real estate came from somewhere. Not anybody in real estate started in real estate. They all had a past life. Mm-hmm. So what was that past life? Who did you know? And contact everybody from that past life and let them know what you did. Even if they're not from here, people come to Florida. Look, we all did. And, I got sick of the snow. Maybe there's other people up there who are going to get sick of the snow. Tell them.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So that's number one is your sphere of influence. And if you talk to the pros that have been doing this for years, the ones that are the big listers, and when I say big lister, what's a big lister? In my opinion, it's 100 listings or more a year. That's a big lister. And there's several of those right here in town. Mm-hmm. My personal average was I did 78 listings a year for 7 years in a row. And out of that, I had 63 closed transactions a year. That was my average. So, but I did that. I was never really full time. I had the family business I mentioned earlier with the clock shop. So I ran that and did real estate. So time management obviously comes into play there. But if you're going to be doing a lot of listings, the big listers say that 50% of your business comes out of your sphere of influence. So you want to work your sphere number one, and then from there you move on to all kinds of other areas. So
you get a lot of repeat business too, right?
Well, that's hopefully the idea.
Yeah.
I mean, if people like you, they're going to repeat business with you, and people want to give business to somebody they like.
Now, how big is word of mouth?
But word of mouth is number one. Yep, and you take care of people, give the people what they want. They're going to talk nice about you. So you got to get in front of people, though.
What's required of a listing agent? What special responsibilities do you have, and how do you execute them? Well,
for one, you're asking somebody to give you their biggest asset. I mean, usually a person's house is the most expensive asset that they own. And so if you're going to be in charge of that, you obviously have a big responsibility. It's very important to find out why they want to sell. That's job number one. And there's obviously from down here in Florida 1,000 different reasons why people might want to sell. But the number one reason is they want to move back up north or wherever they came from. We've run into that a lot where people move here for 3 or 4 or 5 years and, okay, we gave it a try. I want to move back by the kids or back by the family or something like that. So our job is to get them there. So you really got to be cognizant of the why is very, very important. And it is their biggest asset. So obviously everybody wants the most money they can get out of their house. But pricing is very, very important. You have to take the time to make sure that you price the property correctly for them so that they can maximize the amount of dollars that are coming out of the property. You don't want to overprice the property, and that's a big mistake. And that's where market knowledge comes in. You have to know what's going on with the market. You have to know what things are worth. What a house is worth today is completely different from what it was worth 2 years ago or what it might be worth a year from now. So if you follow the numbers and track the numbers, if you're in the business every single day paying attention, you can pretty well, be the go-to guy to know how things should be priced and where to do things.
I would suppose that a knowledge of current events is essential as well, because that allows you to foresee perhaps a little bit into the future as to what's coming down the pike.
Oh, absolutely. You got 1,000 people a day moving into Florida. You got people retiring. Obviously, we have the baby boomers. You have to watch for new businesses that are opening up in the area. What's some of the big growth things happening? If there's a big company moving in the area that's going to open up 3,000 or 4,000 jobs, well, that's obviously going to create some opportunities there. Where are the interest rates at? Are they projected to go up, go down? How many people are renting? How many of those renters convert to buyers? You want to know all that stuff.
What signs do you see in the local economy now that point to either slowing or...
Well, we're actually, and we do follow this very, very closely, and real estate does run in cycles. So usually it's a 4 to 5 year cycle. So if prices start going up, business starts going up, that runs a 4 to 5 cycle, and then it levels off and drops down again. That's why you don't see a straight line. It looks like a jagged line. we actually had a 6 to almost 7 year cycle of price increase, which was because of the crash that happened back in 2007, 2008. And so we went longer than the normal cycle. And we saw a correction happen. We can pinpoint May of last year as when the correction happened. So prices actually started declining a hair. And we've seen that leveling off and a slight decline over the past year, 14, 15 months, somewhere in there. We expect it to stay that way now through the end of the year, into the year 2020. In the year 2020, we do expect to see things maybe pick up just a slight bit, but the Fed is also talking about interest rates. They decided not to raise them this year. That does play a part. It shouldn't, because they're so incredibly low right now. Everybody should buy a house. You talk to somebody, you say, well, what's the rate? Well, it's around 4%, 4.5, 4.2, 4.43, whatever, whoever you're talking to, different banks, different rates, but right around there. When I bought my first house, I paid 14.75% back in the 80s. I know people have paid 16, 17%.
Right.
So to us, this is amazingly low.
Right.
My parents' first loan when they bought back in the 60s was 7%. But you're talking to some people that are just getting into the housing market now. They just started paying attention when the crash happened and interest rates slipped all the way down to in the 3s. And actually we're playing around in the high 2s just to try to get the economy moving. So to them, anything over 4 seems high. And so part of what we have to do is educate people that the rates are really historically low. And if anything, they're going to go up before they go down.
It makes so much more sense to buy a place, even a modest place, compared to renting. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. Are you getting a big influx of baby boomers now coming down from the frozen north?
We've had that for a while, and we gauge that too to figure out where's our next wave of people coming from. So the baby boomer wave is starting to slow down. I mean, it is finite. I myself am the end of the baby boomers because I was born in 1961. And then after that, you've got Generation X, and then you've got the millennials, and then you've got some other generations coming up. The millennials are what's buying right now, and we think we're going to see continued millennial activity here for a while. And then the generation that comes after them, everybody has different needs. So the millennials just really started buying about 3 years ago, and we expect to see a lot of them picking up the baby boomers. The baby boomer drops off, and but they're primarily focused on entry-level housing, whereas they are first-time homebuyers. They're very, very careful about what they buy. The next generation coming down the pike, they're looking like they might be willing to spend more money on nicer houses. So there's one generation after another that's just going to keep on coming. We don't expect to see a major drop-off here. We're going to see one generation replace the next.
So realtors really have to have an eye on the big picture as well as a microcosm of the local market to maximize
well, you don't want to plan for 6 months. You want to plan for 6 years or further out than that. So, yeah.
Great. Jerry is frantically signaling me, as he sometimes does. Calm down, Jerry. Calm down. We're going to take a break now. Very quick break, and we will be right back with Dave Dettmann on the Royal PalmCast.
We hope you're enjoying the Royal PalmCast, a production of the Royal Palm Coast Realtor Association, your association for realtor services, resources, and education. We are committed to the success of all of our members and advocate for property rights, both residential and commercial, as we continue our efforts in participating and influencing public policy on local, state, and national levels. Your association also leads the way with community involvement, member engagement, promoting the use of local, state, and national benefits, and more, all of which helps provide a superior realtor experience. With 3 locations in Fort Myers, Cape Coral, and South Fort Myers, the staff of RPCRA is here for you. Visit our website at rpcra.org and make sure to find us on Facebook, Twitter, and other social media for valuable information on upcoming classes and events. Now back to Jim Sandville and the Royal PalmCast.
We are back. You're listening to the Royal PalmCast. I'm Jim Sandville, along with Jerry Johnson, our producer, and our guest today, Dave Dettmann, who is a listing machine. A listing machine. This guy is a legend. He lists a lot of houses. Dave, I want to find out a little bit more about your background and how that feeds into your expertise in listing. You have a lot of training background, correct?
Yeah, I've got a lot of training background, and I got to attribute it to a guy named Floyd Wickman. If you've been around in the business for a while, you know the name. Floyd Wickman was a staple. I mean, he's one of the greatest speakers ever. And I actually worked for him as a speaker and a trainer, but he had for those of you that are listening that are really been in the business a long time, you might remember a course called Sweat Hogs. And Sweat Hogs was, when I took it, a 10-week sales course. You want one full day a week, and they pounded sales into you, and they pounded listings into you. And you paid $1,000 to get into the course. And then you were given homework at the end of each day. It was one day a week. You had to go out and schedule 3 listing appointments before the next class. If you didn't schedule all 3 appointments, you got a strike. If you got 3 strikes, you got thrown out of the class, and you did not get your money back.
That's tough.
So the day was spent teaching you what to say and how to say it and where to go and where to find leads, and then they set you free, and you had to go do it.
You were highly incented to succeed.
That's right. Yeah. so I have to say that is where this all started.
Huh. And so you took that experience and built on it?
Yep, exactly. I was like most agents, fumbling around. I wasn't doing bad. I didn't think I was doing bad. I was doing between 10 and 11 deals a year. Okay, great. But I did take somebody who came into my life. Was one of my best friends who was a broker, and he said, "You can do better. You need to take a course so you can learn to do better." And he recommended this. And the following year after I took the course, I jumped up to 27 sales. And I said, okay, well, I didn't apply myself, because when you take a course, if you're honest, nobody really applies themselves like you should. So I said, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to really apply myself. So the next year I took the same course again, and I jumped up to 47 sales. And and then after that, I said, well, I'm going to live the life. I'm going to do exactly what they say. And I followed it, and that's how we got up to 78 listings a year. And my biggest year listing was 101 listings.
101. Wow. Yeah. What's the most you've ever heard of a realtor in Southwest Florida listing in a year?
Oh, what's amazing is that there are people here that do exactly the kind of stuff that I did, and we may not know who they are, but there's a few right here, members of this board, this fantastic board that we have, that are doing over 100, 150 listings a year.
Really?
There's actually somebody out of Naples that they made over $1 million in gross commissions last year, and they consistently do $1 million. They've been doing it year after year for several years.
Oh, wow, that's
so
inspiring.
They're right in your backyard.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about some tips and tricks. What are the most important things you need to do to get listings beyond communicating with your sphere of influence?
Okay, when you're not communicating with your sphere, I always go after the low-hanging fruit first. Low-hanging fruit are ones that you know. Our job is to find people thinking about selling a house. Okay, so we can have that conversation. Obviously, you have to have the skills, and you have to work on the skills. So, get your skill set down, get your voice down, learn what to say in terms of how to talk to people about listings. But in terms of finding the leads, I start with for sale by owners. For sale by owners want to sell their house. Our job is to find people wanting to sell a house. So how can it be any easier than that? A lot of people think that for sale by owners, you have to be afraid of them. They think that they don't need realtors. I heard the phrase, they eat their young, which scares people. And in the class today, I asked the class, what do you think of FSBOs? And they're all afraid of them. I said, listen, what's amazing is if you actually call for sale by owners, 90% of them are nice to you on the phone. They'll have a conversation with you. They're happy you called. They're going to tell you they're not going to list. But statistically, when the market is average like we have right now, 80 to 90% of them will list with a real estate agent.
What is it that convinces them?
It takes time. Well, for one, they can't sell themselves. Most FSBOs cannot sell themselves. And if you think about it, it makes perfect sense. As a real estate agent, we have access to so many tools. Just look at the tools available through the board here. This board does amazing things, amazing training. Just look at the list of what's available. And then the multiple listing service is just one of tons of tools that you can use to sell a house. But it's not just that, it's how you're interconnected. A real estate agent, this is a full-time job. They're going to get connections. They're going to meet people. Our job is to go out and meet people every single day. I may not have a buyer for you today, but I might meet somebody tomorrow that could be the perfect buyer for you. So statistically, according to NAR, every realtor has 10 buyers in their pocket. How many members do we have at this board right now? About 7,000 members.
Of the association, yeah, in total.
So of 7,000 members, everybody has an average of 10 buyers. How many buyers is that walking around right now? That's an amazing amount of buyers.
Sure.
So you tell a for sale owner, listen, by hiring me, you're going to automatically get access to 700,000 buyers. How many buyers do you currently have? None. Okay, well, you can do your none, or you can plug into me and my 700,000 through me and the people I work with. Which way do you think is going to get your house sold quicker?
Wow, you talked me into it. I wish I had something to sell right now.
Yeah.
Wow. That's good stuff. What other tips and tricks do you have, and what are the common pitfalls that people?
Well, first of all, ask questions. Sales is asking questions. So whatever you do, pose it in the form of a question. Okay. So with for sale by owners, 50% of getting the listing is getting in the door. Literally, just if you can get in the door to have a conversation, you're halfway home. The other low-hanging fruit, expireds. Same thing with an expired. Expired is obviously a listing that didn't sell. It's back on the market, or they want to come back on the market. 80 to 90% of them will relist. FSBOs will tell you they don't want to use you, but I just gave you a statistic where they're going to end up. So with FSBOs, it's follow-up. The key is always follow-up. So my number one tip is, after you get in the door, follow-up, follow-up, follow-up. How many times? There's a well-known study that says that 80% of the sales are made after the fifth call. That means you got to follow up at least 5 times.
Yeah, I'm sure many agents are really reluctant to, for fear of bothering the client too much.
And that's fine. Let them think that, because that's less competition for me.
I like the way you think, Dave. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
So what's the one most important thing you need to do other than what we've talked about already? What to list?
One most important thing, show up. Get up. Get out of bed in the morning. Like I said, we wake up every morning unemployed. Don't get up at the crack of noon. The number one problem with agents is because we are self-employed. We are our own boss. And quite frankly, we need to fire ourselves. Okay? We need to be a better boss and do the kind of things that, if we had an employer telling us what to do, we'd have to do it. We have to be a better employee of ourselves and get our butts to the office in the morning to make it happen. So discipline is number one. If you have discipline, you're going to succeed.
Wow. Those are inspiring words, Dave. That's great stuff. Great stuff. Any other thoughts before we close out this portion of the program?
Oh, geez, I got 1,000 thoughts. But,
give me one.
But I'll give you one. Don't listen to the people that tell you can't do it, because you can. And the people that tell you can't do it, they're the ones that are afraid to do it. There's 1,000 people telling you can't. You have to be the strongest voice in your own head saying, I can do this, I will do this, I will not fail.
Wow. You make me want to get up earlier in the morning and and come to work the crack of dawn. So we'll see. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Now we come to my favorite part of the program. This is called the lightning round. I don't know if you've heard this on our previous podcast, Dave, but we can have a lot of fun with this one. I'm going to ask you about some of your favorite things and personal opinions and professional opinions. And what we're looking for is kind of a soundbite response. Doesn't have to be one word. It can be one sentence or a couple, whatever you think it deserves. So at this point, I'm going to ask producer Jerry to hand over the official 3x5 game show host cards that the lightning round questions are on, and these have been sealed in a super box in a secret location in Lehigh Acres since noon on Tuesday. Jerry, may I have the cards?
These cards here, Jim?
Are they all there?
Yeah, I think this is it.
It sounded a little light, but I think they're all there.
That's about all I got.
Thank you so much. All right. Are you ready, Dave, for the lightning round?
Let's go.
Okay, here we go. We'll jump right into it. Are you? I already know the answer, but I'm going to ask you anyway because it's on my list and I can't deviate. Are you a native or a former Northerner?
I'm a native Northerner.
And I've already asked you this too, but again, for those who are tuning in late to this podcast, when's the last time you saw snow?
It was 13 years ago.
Nice. Now, where would you live if not in Florida?
Oh boy, that's a really good question. I'm leaving on a cruise for the Bahamas in the morning, and I've always wanted to see it. So you may not get me back.
Well, we will see. We need you. We hope you don't decide to move on. Cats or dogs?
Oh, dogs.
Dogs. You're a dog guy.
Absolutely.
All right. Who's funnier, men or women?
Oh, women are hilarious. You kidding me? They're awesome.
We had Sheena Reagan on the podcast a couple of episodes ago, and I'm here to tell you she's a funny lady. Funny lady.
Yeah.
All right. This one is multiple choice. You guys, yous, or y'all?
Boy, I like y'all.
Y'all? Oh.
Yeah, a little bit of a southern draw.
Yeah. Well, you're an honorary native then. What's your go-to social media platform, Dave?
Go to a social media platform, YouTube.
YouTube, that's
absolutely
good stuff. There's no end to it. It's amazing.
No.
I love it. All right, now let's learn a little bit about your guilty pleasures. Your guilty pleasure TV show.
The Walking Dead.
Okay. The
You bet.
movie?
And we can't wait for the movie. Movie's coming out with Rick here.
So that'll be your guilty pleasure movie then.
Oh, heck yeah. Don't call me during that.
How about food?
Oh, food. Boy, I love all kinds of stuff, but chicken wings. I love chicken wings.
Going with the wings. Nice. All right. Now tell me about some of your favorites. Your favorite day of the week.
Favorite day of the week. It's got to be Friday.
Friday, a popular choice always.
Yeah.
Breakfast food.
Breakfast food, believe it or not, a good old McDonald's breakfast sandwich.
Can't beat it. Can't beat it. Favorite book.
Favorite book. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill is. I've read it a couple times. That's probably my number one.
That's a strong message there.
Yeah.
Favorite holiday, Dave.
Favorite holiday, Christmas.
Gotta love it. And your favorite form of recreation.
Favorite form of recreation, motorcycling.
Ah.
Taking the old Harley out for a road cruise.
Nice. You're a Harley guy.
Yeah.
All right. Changing the subject here. Socks with sandals, yes or no?
Oh, absolutely not. You kidding me? No. They know you're not from here when you do that.
Ah, good one. Netflix, Prime Video, or Hulu?
Oh, Netflix.
Nice. And who's your personal hero?
Personal hero, Ronald Reagan.
Do you do any imitations, Dave?
Well, I do somewhat once in a while.
What do you do?
Well, it all depends. Like sometimes you play around with Ronald Reagan a little bit, and
there you go again. Okay, thank you very much, and I'm sorry to step on your Ronald Reagan.
No, I could improve on the Ronald Reagan.
Good stuff. All right, and I have one last question for you here in our lightning round, Dave. You get one bucket list item. What is it?
One bucket list item. Man, that's a great question. I've never done mountain climbing, and if I ever did see snow again, I think that's the way I'd see it. I would like to go on a mountain climbing excursion.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's you're talking about ice climbing with technical gear?
With pros, so I don't get dead.
Yeah, no, we'll get a guide for you for that, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Dave, if people want to get in touch with you, where can they find you? Where can they reach you?
Well, the easiest thing is I'm all over Google. You Google Dave Dettmann, you're going to find me.
Spell Dettmann, please.
D as in dog, E as in Edward, T as in Tom, T as in Tom, M as in Major, A as in August, N as in never, N as in never. 2 T's and 2 N's. Good old German name.
Dettmann.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Dave.
You bet.
All right. And that, according to the music that's playing, means it's the end of the program, and we want to thank Dave Dettmann so much for appearing with us. It's been a pleasure. We've learned a lot, and I have a feeling there's a lot more to learn that we didn't cover here, so good stuff. Hopefully people will check out your classes and find you online and get in touch with you that way. All right, I want to thank our producer and director of marketing and communications, Jerry Johnson, along with our CEO, Beata Jones, and the entire staff of the Royal PalmCast Realtor Association here in Fort Myers, Florida. Please be sure to subscribe to the Royal Podcast on your favorite platform. We're on iTunes, now called Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, etc. You can find us just by Googling us. And again, the Royal PalmCast. Check it out and subscribe. We look forward to seeing you again next time. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to the Royal PalmCast. Tune in again for more episodes and make sure to check out our sister podcast, Realtor Riff Rap, and our video news show, Realtor's Corner, which can be found on the Royal PalmCast Realtor Association Facebook page and YouTube channel. Sponsorship opportunities for these programs and more coming soon. So stay connected with RPCRA and stay tuned. This has been a production of the Royal PalmCast Realtor Association.